Have you ever been in a room full of people, like a classroom or a party, and you feel like you're on the outside of a fish tank, just watching everyone swim around and make bubbles? Everyone's laughing, telling stories, interrupting each other, and you're just there, nodding politely. Your brain's working overtime to figure out how to jump in, but it's like trying to merge into traffic with no gaps. You rehearse a sentence 5 times in your head, and by the time you're ready to say it, they've already moved on to a different topic. Yeah. That's what it's like to be the quiet one. And let me tell you, it sucks. I didn't choose to be the quiet one. Most people don't. It's not like I woke up one day and said, you know what? I think I'll just not talk and let people assume I'm mysterious or socially broken. No, it kind of just happened. I think it started in school. I'd raise my hand once, get the answer wrong, and boom, I was labeled the shy kid. After that, I spoke less and people talked over me more. It was like every time I tried to contribute, the world said, "No, you're good." So I shut up. Not out of fear, but out of exhaustion. What's wild is that being quiet doesn't mean you have nothing to say. Oh no, your brain is doing laps around everyone else. You're noticing everything. The way someone's tone changed mid-sentence, the inside joke 2 people shared from across the room, that one person who looks like they're trying too hard to laugh. You're reading the room like a novel. And still, no one asks what you think. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a moment where someone finally asked, "What about you?" And it kind of broke you a little because you realized how rare that is? I had that once. I remember the moment like a movie. I was sitting with this group, just listening, doing my usual observer thing, and one girl turned to me and said, "You're really quiet, but I feel like you notice more than anyone. What are you thinking right now?" I didn't even know how to respond. Not because I didn't have thoughts, I had too many, but no one had ever asked. And that one question felt like someone finally opened a window in a room I'd been trapped in for years. Here's what people don't realize about quiet people. We're not trying to be mysterious, we're not trying to be rude. We're just stuck in a weird space between thinking too much and saying too little. And the worst part? People start to assume you're not worth hearing. Ever had someone interrupt you mid-sentence only to talk louder about something pointless? Or that moment when everyone's laughing and you finally speak and the room literally doesn't even register it? That stings. And after enough of those moments, you start to ask yourself, what's the point of speaking if no one's going to hear me anyway? So you talk less, you participate less, and slowly, invisibility sets in. I don't say all this to be depressing. I say it because maybe you felt that too, and no one's ever said it out loud for you. But here's the thing I've learned after years of being the quiet one. Silence isn't the problem. Shame is. It's not the act of being quiet that hurts. It's the way people treat you because of it. And at some point, you have to decide, am I going to live my life edited, or am I going to show up, awkward, overthinking, but real? Let me walk you through a few things I learned that helped me. Not to stop being quiet, but to stop feeling trapped by it. 1. You don't have to be loud to be heard. This was a big one for me. I thought that to be included, I had to force myself to speak more, joke more, talk over people like everyone else. But when I did that, it felt fake, like I was doing a bad impression of someone outgoing. Eventually, I realized people don't respond to volume, they respond to presence. When I slowed down and spoke when I had something meaningful to say, people listened more. It's like when someone who's always quiet finally speaks. The room goes silent because they know it's not noise, it's signal. So don't speak just to fill silence. Speak when it counts. That's what gives your words power. 2. Small talk isn't the enemy. Curiosity is the key. I used to hate small talk. How's the weather? What do you do? It all felt so surface level. But then I realized something. Small talk is just the shallow end of the pool. It's where the conversation starts, not where it has to stay. The trick is to be curious, not clever. Curious. So when someone says, "I have a weird day at work," you don't just say, "Oh yeah." You lean in and ask, what made it weird? Suddenly you're not in a boring exchange, you're in a real moment. Quiet people often excel at this, by the way. We're naturally curious. We just forget how powerful that can be. 3. Not everyone deserves your inner world. This one hurts, but it's true. Sometimes you meet people who just don't get it. They're loud, distracted, uninterested. They make you feel small just by being around them. And you start to think you're the problem. You're not. They're just not your people. I had to learn that not everyone deserves my thoughts. Not everyone deserves my attention. Because quiet people, we notice everything. We care deeply. We overthink in a way that's borderline poetic. And not everyone deserves that kind of depth. So stop trying to get shallow people to appreciate deep waters. Here's a question I ask myself now when I feel invisible in a room. If I weren't trying to be liked, what would I say right now? Sometimes the answer is nothing, and that's okay. Other times it's something honest, something real, something brave. And when I say it, even if my voice shakes, I remind myself, you don't have to be loud. You just have to be true. Look, being the quiet one isn't a curse. It just means the world moves a little differently for you. You listen deeper, you feel more, you think longer, you observe when others rush to respond. That's not a flaw. That's a superpower. But only if you stop trying to be someone you're not. You don't have to become the loud one. You just have to stop apologizing for the quiet you already are. I'll leave you with this. If you've ever felt small in a conversation, if you've ever walked away thinking, why didn't I say anything? If you've ever felt like your voice doesn't matter, please know it does. And the right people, they'll wait for you to speak. They'll notice when you haven't. They'll ask you what you're thinking, not just out of politeness, but because they genuinely want to know. So speak up when it's true. Stay silent when it's kind. And never, ever let the noise convince you that your quiet doesn't count. Because it does. You do. If this hit home for you, maybe just drop a comment and tell me, what's something you've always wanted to say, but never got the chance to? I'm listening, and I'm glad you're here.